So tell us what's going on with the SDK, what you're making available, and why that's important.
Sure, so it's our very first tool that we're putting out into our repository that IAS and other members of the community have given to us to open source. And it'll be focused on in-app viewability.
So why is that important, and what do you hope it brings to the table?
I think it's important because we should have tools for everyone to use in our ecosystem, be it small companies, big companies with no engineering teams, to help them get to the same level and the framework side of our business.
Cool. And tell us about the coalition, what's going on there?
Sure, the Coalition for Better Ads it's 7 months old this month. We're very excited about the progress we've made at the coalition overall. We have 25 members globally, and it stems from Unilever to P&G to News Corp to Google to Facebook, and we're focused on creating a methodology to improve the user experience and hopefully prevent ad blocking in our world.
So tell us sort of what the problem is and what you hope to solve and how the process will work.
Sure, the problem in digital right now is that the user experience topic and just focus is not there. And we came together as an industry to create the coalition to focus on the consumer first, and to create a better, beautiful, sexy experience for them overall. And so the goal is to put out a standard, or I would say more than one standard, based on user annoyance and just overall weight of ads and overall just bad functioning advertising in our ecosystem. That's coming very soon. And the coalition's working together in working groups to make that standard happen.
So when will that happen, and what do you hope the impact will be?
So hopefully it'll happen in a few weeks. We'll see. I am not in control of that. But the impact will be hopefully a global realization of the user experience problem in our industry and a global effort and adoption of the standards.
Cool. And let me ask you about standards and other things that are going on. We've talked about this before. Give us an update on viewability standards and where things stand.
Sure. So we work very heavily with the MRC, the 4As, and the ANA, and we're embarking on new projects this year, so we'll have more on that later in the year. We're thinking about our protocols, so OpenRTB, MRAID, VPAID, and VAST, and how we can overhaul them and rebuild them to be more transparent, more engineering focused, and more of a framework for the industry. So more to come also on that, but I think OpenRTB will be first. And I'm really excited about it, actually. We had a summit in Boston 2 days ago, and we talked about a brave new world for advertising and a way to think about OpenRTB as a framework for the next generation of ads and the next generation of exchanges.
Could you explain a little bit more what that means, OpenRTB?
Yeah. OpenRTB is the framework that powers RTB, so it powers programmatic. And the Tech Lab, in concert with a group of CTOs from tech startups, have come together to create this standard. We took it on about, I think, 2.5 years ago, maybe a little bit, don't quote me on that, cut that out. I'm not sure of the time frame, but it basically is a framework that shepherds ads across the protocol. So we, as an industry, come together once a year or more to create a new version of it. And this version will be focused on user happiness and transparency, supply chain economics, and supply chain transparency.
Cool. And I don't know if you can get into this about server-to-server programmatic. Do you know about that stuff?
Yeah.
So we've heard a lot about server-to-server. It's not exactly new, but there seems to be a lot of talk about it here. What are your thoughts about server-to-server programmatic?
Sure. So server-to-server in general is preferred only because it doesn't slow the browser down. There's a connection made that is agnostic to page load time and is agnostic to just overall. It helps the user experience because there's not a direct correlation to ad load, page load, content load, etc. That being said, there are ways to build items and technologies like the SDKs of the world that are still in browser but can be optimized to work better. So server-to-server's always been there. It's just there's a push now because there's a need to optimize the in-browser technology, in my opinion.
And what about header bidding?
Yeah. So header bidding has been around for a while as well. It's come to the forefront now for multiple reasons. It's a new market, a new placement on the page for many companies, and we're just learning about it. And the Tech Lab was thinking about a standard around header bidding We're working with folks at AppNexus, at Google, at Facebook, to think about ways to create a point of view around the topic, because people have different varying points of view. And header bidding is just one facet of programmatic, quote unquote, that is, should be taken into account. There are other things. Google has their own solution, which is not header bidding, which is equally as important. So I think we need to think about everyone's technology stack and talk about what would work for the publishers and for the consumers.
And finally, Alanna, when you speak to the membership here, formally, informally, what do people want from the IAB, or what do they want to have solved by the industry? What are some of the top
So
topics?
I hear a lot about user experience. I hear a lot about measurement and viewability. I hear a lot about security. And so I work very closely with the Trustworthy Accountability Group to think about ways to help the industry avoid malware, fraud, supply chain economics, and supply chain security, which is why we're changing the way we think about Open RTB and other protocols so we all can work together and solve the problem together.